If you think the secret to generational wealth is stashed away in trust funds and stock portfolios, you're missing the real story. The true inheritance of old money families is completely invisible. It's a set of quiet, daily habits, drilled in from childhood, that build unbreakable discipline and character. These are the routines money can't buy, and they're the real reason why some fortunes last for centuries, while others vanish in a single generation. These habits aren't about luxury, they're about a mindset. They are the subtle, often unseen practices that shape a child into a steward, not a spender. It's a world where success is measured not by what you show off, but by what you hold on to. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on the 10 quiet habits that old money kids practice daily, revealing the invisible architecture behind lasting wealth and character. Habit 1. The practice of emotional discipline. The first, and maybe the most important quiet habit, is mastering emotional discipline. Warren Buffett famously said, "Until you can manage your emotions, don't expect to manage money." In old money families, this isn't just a clever saying, it's a core part of their education. Kids learn from a really young age that their emotions are signals, not marching orders. They come to understand that emotional control is a type of intelligence, and keeping your cool is a strategic advantage. This training is subtle but constant. When a child is disappointed, frustrated, or angry, they aren't just told to stop crying. Instead, they're taught to process the feeling without letting it control their actions. It might be a quiet chat with a parent who asks, "What is this feeling telling you?" Or, "What's a productive way to respond to this?" The goal isn't to suppress emotion, but to channel it. This builds a deep sense of inner stability. While a child from a new money background might get showered with gifts to stop a tantrum, an old money child is guided toward self-regulation. They learn to sit with discomfort, a skill that's priceless in both life and finance. Picture a teenager at a high-stakes equestrian competition. Their horse refuses a jump, and just like that, the prize is gone. The common reaction? A flash of anger, maybe a slammed helmet, or visible tears. The old money response, practiced for years, is different. It's a quiet pat on the horse's neck, a calm walk out of the arena, and a private analytical talk with their coach later. This isn't about being a robot. It's about understanding that public meltdowns are a sign of weakness. They signal that you're easily rattled and that your judgment is compromised. This emotional mastery becomes a superpower in adulthood. In a boardroom, during a market crash, or in a tough negotiation, the person who stays calm and rational holds all the cards. They don't make impulsive moves based on fear or greed. They don't react. They respond. They've been trained their whole lives to separate feeling from action, letting them navigate high-pressure moments with a clarity others just don't have. This quiet confidence, this unshakable composure, is a direct result of a daily habit started in their earliest years. It's a type of wealth you can't write into a will, you have to build it. Habit 2. Financial literacy as a daily language. In so many homes, money is a taboo topic, only spoken about in whispers or with a sense of dread. In old money families, it's the exact opposite. Money is treated like any other practical life skill, with lessons starting almost as soon as a child can count. It's demystified, stripped of all its drama, and turned into a tool you learn to manage, just like swimming or riding a bike. This isn't taught in stuffy lectures, but is woven right into the fabric of daily life. It starts simple. A young child might get 3 clear jars for their allowance, one for spending, one for saving, and one for giving. This simple visual teaches a huge lesson. Every dollar has a job. and spending is only 1/3 of the picture. They can literally watch their savings grow, learning the power of patience. They feel the quiet pride of setting money aside for others, laying the groundwork for future philanthropy. As they get older, the lessons get more complex. A trip to the grocery store becomes a lesson in budgeting. A parent might say, "We have $50 for this part of the meal. How can we get the best quality without going over?" This teaches trade-offs and making smart choices about value. By their teens, they might be invited to sit in on family financial meetings, not to talk, but just to listen and soak up the language of assets, trusts, and investments. A grandfather might walk them through a stock portfolio, explaining not just the wins, but the long-term thinking and the why behind each decision. The message is always the same. Wealth isn't magic. It's a resource you have to manage with intelligence and a view to the future. This is a world away from the new money approach, where kids are often either shielded from money talk or see it only as a way to get what they want right now. They might get a credit card with a huge limit, but zero lessons on how compound interest actually works. Old money kids, on the other hand, are taught that wealth is a responsibility long before it's a privilege. They learn the critical difference between an asset and a liability, not from a book, but from life. They learn that the family's fortune isn't really theirs to blow, but a legacy they are in charge of protecting and growing for the generations to come. This long-term mindset is probably the single biggest reason their wealth actually lasts. Habit 3. The ritual of understated presentation. There's a powerful saying in old money circles: "Wealth whispers, it doesn't shout." This idea is most obvious in their daily habit of understated presentation. From a young age, kids are taught that clothes aren't for showing off your status. They're for showing respect for the occasion and the people around you. Flashy logos and over-the-top brands are quietly discouraged, not because they're bad, but because they're seen as a clumsy way to communicate. They attract the wrong attention and suggest your value is tied to a label, not to who you are. This is the core of quiet luxury. It's a focus on quality, craftsmanship, and timeless style over fleeting trends. An old money child learns to appreciate the feel of a well-made sweater, the durability of a hand-stitched shoe, or the perfect cut of a tailored jacket. They're taught to buy once, cry once, investing in high-quality things that will last for decades instead of disposable fast fashion. Their closets aren't packed with the latest IT bag, but with classic, durable pieces that work in all sorts of situations. Shoes get repaired, not tossed at the first scuff. A coat is chosen for its timeless design and quality fabric, with the full expectation of wearing it for a decade or more. This habit is also a form of social armor. By not screaming, "I'm rich," they avoid envy, judgment, and the risk of being a target. They blend in, which allows them to be judged on their character and what they do, not on the logos they're wearing. At a party, the new money person might be covered in recognizable brands to announce they've arrived. The old money person is often the one in the simple, perfectly fitting, unbranded outfit. Their confidence comes from inside. They have nothing to prove. This goes beyond just clothes. They're taught to speak clearly and at a measured pace, to listen more than they talk, and to carry themselves with a quiet poise. The goal is to project a calm, steady presence that makes other people feel comfortable. This habit of understatement is a form of social intelligence. It's a quiet display of self-assurance that's way more powerful than any logo, and it sends a clear message. My value is in who I am, not what I own. Habit 4. The discipline of privacy and discretion. In an age of constant oversharing, where every moment is staged for public approval, the greatest luxury for old money families is privacy. Kids are taught from day one that family business, especially money, stays in the family. This isn't about being paranoid or secretive. It's a deep-rooted habit of discretion that acts as both a shield and a form of self-respect. The rules are unspoken, but crystal clear. You don't talk about how much things cost, what people earn, or who inherits what. Bragging about a fancy vacation, a new car, or an expensive gift is considered incredibly vulgar. The family's assets are never, ever a topic of conversation with outsiders. This discipline does a few things. First, it protects the family from unwanted attention, jealousy, and people with bad intentions. If you don't advertise your wealth, you're less likely to become a target. Second, it teaches humility. By keeping wealth a private matter, kids don't develop a sense of entitlement or use their family's bank account as a shortcut to an identity. They learn that their own accomplishments and character are what define them. A child who isn't allowed to brag about money has to develop more interesting things to talk about. Finally, it keeps relationships real. Discretion means friendships are more likely to be genuine, based on shared interests and mutual respect, not on someone's net worth. This is why old money kids often have friends from all walks of life. Their identity isn't tied to their money. You can see this in their digital footprint, or rather, the lack of one. While new money might flaunt private jets and luxury goods on public social media, old money accounts are usually private, use fake names, or don't exist at all. They're taught that attention is a liability, not an asset. The best experiences are the ones that aren't posted for the world, but are kept close. This quiet, disciplined approach to privacy is a cornerstone of their culture, ensuring their legacy is protected and their kids grow up grounded in who they are, not what they have. So we've covered emotional discipline, speaking the language of finance, understatement, and discretion. These are the invisible pillars that support a life of quiet confidence. Which of these habits hits home for you the most, and why? Let us know in the comments below. Now, let's get into the habits that shape how they act in the world. Habit 5. The cultivation of mastery over status. For a lot of people, success is all about external validation, job titles, public awards, or social media fame. In old money families, there's a different currency: mastery. Kids are pushed to pick up a craft, a sport, or an art form and pursue it with intense dedication, not for the trophies, but for the character it builds. This could mean learning a musical instrument to a high level, becoming fluent in a difficult language, or dedicating themselves to a tough sport like rowing, sailing, or equestrianism. These hobbies are often chosen specifically because they demand huge amounts of patience, discipline, and long-term commitment. The exact same qualities needed to manage generational wealth. The process is the point, not the prize. A kid who spends years learning the violin learns a lot more than music. They learn the frustration of hitting a wall and the discipline it takes to push through. They learn the humility of taking direction and the quiet joy of making slow, steady progress. A rower who gets up at dawn every morning to train in the cold learns teamwork, resilience, and that personal glory comes second to the success of the boat. This is a huge contrast to the modern obsession with quick wins and going viral. Old money culture is suspicious of anything that offers status without substance. They know that real confidence isn't built by likes and shares, but by the internal knowledge that you dedicated yourself to something hard and got good at it through your own effort. This habit also gives the child a private world of accomplishment, totally separate from the family business and legacy. It gives them an identity that is truly their own, built on their own merit. It doesn't matter if they become a concert-level pianist or just a skilled amateur. The discipline they learned becomes a part of who they are. They learn to find joy in the process itself. This mindset then spills over into every other part of their life, from school to their career to managing their future inheritance. They learn that the most valuable things in life aren't given to you. They're earned through quiet, consistent work. Habit 6. The habit of maintenance and care. In a throwaway culture that's always chasing the next new thing, old money families practice a quiet but radical habit, the discipline of maintenance. This philosophy touches every part of their lives and teaches kids a powerful lesson. It's better to take care of what you have than to constantly replace it. This doesn't just apply to things, but to relationships, health, and homes. You see it most clearly in how they treat their possessions. While a new money mindset might be about constant upgrades, the newest car, the latest phone, the old money approach is to buy quality and then preserve it with care. Kids learn this just by watching. They see their father polishing a pair of 20-year-old leather shoes to make them last a lifetime. They see their mother getting a classic dress tailored instead of buying a new one. They learn that a scuff on a shoe isn't a disaster. It's a chance for a repair. This habit creates a deep respect for craftsmanship and real value. It's the physical version of their long-term mindset. Taking care of things isn't a chore. It's an act of stewardship. A house isn't just a place to live. It's a legacy to be maintained, with a regular schedule for everything from the garden to the silverware. This creates an environment of stability and calm. The home isn't in a constant state of chaotic renovation. It's in a state of consistent, loving care. And it goes way beyond physical stuff. Relationships are maintained with the same care. Handwritten thank you notes aren't just a quaint tradition. They're a required practice to acknowledge someone's kindness. Regular scheduled time is carved out for family, protecting it from the chaos of modern life. Health is seen as a long-term investment in your number one asset, yourself, and is maintained through disciplined routines. By practicing the habit of maintenance, old money kids learn that value isn't created when you buy something, but through the continuous care you give it. They develop a sense of responsibility and an appreciation for things that last. It's a quiet rebellion against the frantic consumerism of the modern world. It teaches them that true wealth isn't about having more, but about needing less because you take exceptional care of what you already have. Habit 7. Radical independence and mandated responsibility. This might sound backward, but kids in old money families are often pushed to be independent and responsible far earlier than their peers. There's a core belief that coddling creates weakness, and that true strength is built through experience, including the experience of messing up and learning from your own mistakes. This often starts with the tradition of going to boarding school. While some people see it as parents outsourcing their job, in these circles, it serves a very specific purpose. It forces a kid to learn self-reliance. They have to manage their own schedule, handle tricky social situations, and own their academic performance without mom or dad hovering over them. They learn to solve their own problems, whether it's a fight with a roommate or a tough assignment. This builds a foundation of autonomy that's critical for anyone who is expected to lead one day. This habit of mandated responsibility also shows up in how they're introduced to the world. An old money teenager might be sent to work on a farm in another country for the summer or volunteer on a service project, not vacation at a five-star resort. These experiences are designed to yank them out of their comfort zone, broaden their horizons, and teach them how to handle themselves in places where they have no status. Financial responsibility is also handed out early in small doses. A child might be given a small budget to manage for a family party or a modest allowance with one strict rule. When it's gone, it's gone. There are no bailouts for dumb spending. This teaches the real-world consequences of financial choices in a low-stakes game. They learn the sting of buyer's remorse and the importance of impulse control with small sums of money, so they're ready to handle large ones later on. The philosophy here is that you can't learn to be a steward if you've never been responsible for anything. Some parents try to shield their kids from every hardship, but the truly wealthy understand that struggle, in controlled amounts, is a necessary ingredient for building character. By giving their children the gift of responsibility, they're preparing them not just to inherit money, but to be capable and resilient people in their own right. Habit 8. Scheduled service as a non-negotiable duty. For many, philanthropy is a big public gesture, a name on a building or a giant check at a gala. For old money families, giving back is often much quieter, more consistent, and more personal. It's the habit of scheduled service, treated not as an optional charity project, but as a fundamental duty that comes with privilege. Kids are introduced to this idea from a very young age, and it's framed as a responsibility, not a choice. This isn't about padding a college application. It's a regular, integrated part of their family life. A family might have one Saturday a month where they volunteer at a food bank, read to kids at a library, or help clean up a local park. The work itself is often unglamorous and gets zero public recognition. In fact, discretion in giving is a point of pride. The rule is to do the right thing, especially when nobody is watching. This habit does a few critical things. First, it systematically exposes children to life outside their privileged bubble. It builds real empathy and perspective, grounding them in the fact that their life isn't normal for most people. This is a powerful antidote to entitlement. It's hard to feel superior to others when you're working right alongside them toward a common goal. Second, it teaches them that the purpose of wealth and influence isn't just for your own benefit, but for contribution. The family's resources, time, money, connections, are tools to be used to make the community better. Kids learn that their role isn't just to be a donor, but an active participant. They don't just write a check. They show up, do the work, and build relationships. Third, this practice redefines what legacy even means. It shifts the focus from what the family has to what the family does. The legacy isn't just the stock portfolio. It's the positive impact they have on their community, built over decades of quiet, consistent service. By making service a scheduled, non-negotiable part of their routine, old money families instill a sense of purpose in their children that goes beyond themselves. They learn that with great privilege comes not just great opportunity, but great responsibility. Habit 9. The practice of intentional media consumption. In a world drowning in digital noise, endless scrolling, and algorithm-fed junk, one of the most powerful quiet habits of old money families is how disciplined they are about what they consume. They understand that their attention is their most valuable and limited resource, and they guard it like a hawk. From a young age, kids in these families are taught to be active consumers of information, not passive targets. It starts by limiting exposure to low-value media like mindless reality TV and social media feeds. Instead, they're encouraged to engage with content that actually stimulates the brain and broadens their view of the world. Their homes are usually filled with books, and they aren't just for decoration. Reading isn't a chore, it's a core family activity. Parents read to their kids daily, and as they get older, conversations about books, articles, and history are a normal part of the dinner table. They prioritize deep reading, biographies, histories, classic novels, and deep dives into current events. The goal isn't to just skim information, but to absorb it, think about it, and fit it into their understanding of the world. While everyone else is chasing fleeting trends and viral moments, they are building a deep, foundational knowledge base that lets them think critically and play the long game. This intentional approach applies to all media. They might watch documentaries, go to lectures, or listen to educational podcasts. Even their entertainment is often chosen for its cultural or intellectual merit. The habit is to choose stimulation over sedation. They're teaching their kids that the point of media is to become more informed, more curious, and more engaged with the world, not to escape from it. On top of this, they practice what you might call strategic solitude. Time is specifically blocked out for quiet reflection, away from all screens and distractions. This is where they process what they've learned, think strategically, and maintain their mental clarity. Warren Buffett's famous habit of spending most of his day just reading and thinking is the perfect example of this in action. By curating their information diet so carefully, they're giving their children a massive advantage. They are cultivating focus, critical thinking, and a calm, uncluttered mind, the essential tools for navigating a complex world and making smart, long-term decisions. Habit 10. The unseen habit of active gratitude. The final, and maybe the most transformative, quiet habit is the active practice of gratitude. In old money families, gratitude isn't a passing feeling. It's a disciplined, daily practice that builds humility, resilience, and a deep sense of contentment. It's the invisible foundation that all the other habits are built on. This isn't the passive gratitude of just being thankful for what you have. It's an active, ritualized practice. Kids might be encouraged to keep a gratitude journal where they write down specific things they're thankful for each day. This simple act forces their brain to shift focus from what they want to what they have, fighting back against the natural human tendency to always be dissatisfied. Manners are a huge expression of this habit. The strict insistence on saying please and thank you, looking people in the eye, and writing prompt, handwritten thank you notes is a form of gratitude training. It teaches kids to actively notice and acknowledge the effort and kindness of others, from a family member to a member of the household staff. This constant reinforcement makes graciousness a reflex, not an afterthought. This practice of gratitude acts as a powerful psychological anchor. It protects kids from the poison of entitlement and the anxiety of constantly comparing themselves to others. When you are genuinely grateful for your health, your relationships, and your opportunities, the need to show off with expensive things just fades away. You find joy in simpler, more meaningful experiences. This inner contentment is a form of wealth that money can't buy. What's more, active gratitude fosters an abundance mindset. When you appreciate what you have, you're less likely to make choices out of fear or a feeling of scarcity. You approach life with a sense of quiet confidence and optimism. Research has shown that practicing gratitude leads to greater resilience and better relationships, and old money families seem to know this instinctively. They know that a child raised with a deep sense of gratitude will be a better steward of their inheritance, a more compassionate leader, and a more fulfilled human being. This final, quiet habit is what ensures the family's legacy isn't just a pile of assets, but a culture of appreciation and quiet joy that can be passed down for generations. As we've walked through these 10 habits, a clear picture starts to form. The real inheritance of old money isn't a portfolio of stocks, but a portfolio of principles. It's the emotional discipline to handle chaos with grace. It's the financial literacy to see money as a tool for stewardship, not just for spending. It's the quiet confidence that comes from understated elegance, and the security that comes from fiercely guarding your privacy. It's the character built by pursuing mastery, the respect for value learned from the habit of maintenance, and the resilience forged through real responsibility. It's a life anchored in purpose through service, sharpened by intentional learning, and made richer by the daily practice of gratitude. These aren't habits reserved for the rich. They are choices available to anyone on any day. They are about building an inner world of discipline, structure, and peace so that your outer world can thrive. The ultimate lesson of old money is that the most valuable assets are the ones you can't see. A strong character, a calm mind, and a life built on values that last. It starts small, with one repaired shoe, one handwritten note, one moment of quiet thought. It starts with the decision to build a life, not of loud luxury, but of quiet abundance. If these insights into building a life of quiet confidence and lasting value resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe for more content that explores the mindsets and strategies behind true wealth. And be sure to watch our next video on the subtle signs of stealth wealth that most people miss.